All right, hello and welcome to another edition of Tales from the Liberal Arts Campus. This is the story of how I met my friend John. So I was going to a writing workshop, and it started around like 1. It's like an afternoon class. So I woke up late, and I don't watch the news or anything. I don't really follow current events, and so it just wasn't on my mind, but I got a text from another one of my friends that said, just randomly, I got a text that said, "I hope Trevor Noah is crying." I was like, what? I put it together the previous night. It was the election, right? For Trump. This is when Trump was getting elected. And I just forgot about it, right? Because it just doesn't have anything to do with me. And then I was walking to class, and everyone is, like, destroyed. Like, they are... The closest thing I could compare it to is... I saw a girl one time that was detoxing from caffeine, and she drank 5 cups of coffee a day. And her detox was, like, cold turkey, and she looked like them, like all of them. So I'm walking to class... And there's just, like, all along the main path through campus from the dorms to the, like, academic buildings was just desolation. There were people sitting on the side of the path. There were people sitting on the path. And, like, I didn't know what the fuck their problem was. So I was, like, walking past them, and I turned to, like, look at them. I was like, "You alright?" And they're just, like... sobby, crying, like whatever. And so I'm just going to class, and there's people sitting on the side of the path, there's people laying on the side of the path. I saw this one guy who was like a sports bro, like the baseball team or something, and he's got his arm around his girl on like on a bench, and he's just like rubbing her back, and he's just like and then I make eye contact with him, and I'm like, he like smiles, and then like just like goes back to like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm so bad." And yeah, people were just crying all over the place. As soon as I realized it, like it clicked in my head, I started laughing, and I'm just like, it's just like everybody's like destroyed over it. I just never seen anything like it. You'd think that like something, I don't know. I don't know what would cause people to react like that. But there were people all over the place sitting outside, just like wanting to be real visible and just sobbing. And just drudging around, like slow walking, like fucking crazy. I was walking around people. There were a bunch of people that just were going to class and failed, right? Where they just died off on the side of the path or whatever. Not like people that just intentionally went outside to go cry so people could see them, but the people that tried to go to class and just couldn't make it there. I unfortunately usually woke up without enough time to check my emails. So, but like later on I saw in my emails that you didn't have to go to class because of the great tragedy. And also that they had blankets and coloring books and milk and cookies available for free that the teachers paid for out of their own pocket because there were there were rooms I saw later that were marked safe space on them, like they could only go in if you were okay with going into a safe space. So I get to class, and and then he's like, "I just wanted everyone to have like the teacher's like real sad. He's like, I just wanted everyone to have a chance to talk about their feelings and like how they're doing, you know." And I was like real like pissed, right? I worked hard every single week to make sure I gave the people in my writing workshop an honest critique and a detailed critique. I worked really hard at it because I wanted to get better. I still do. I want to get better at writing, and it's an incredible resource to have someone who's not familiar with your writing to read it and give you a critique. It's the only value in going to a school for writing. As far as I've experienced, like, you very rarely get like tips and tricks, and you very rarely will learn too much. At least from the school I went to, I learned incredibly little. I learned actually from this workshop a method of editing, which like where you highlight stuff that you're changing. I know it sounds stupid, but it takes off the pressure of like making changes. I worked hard all semester to make sure everyone got really detailed critiques, and it was my time to be critiqued. I had handed in my story, and people were going to my short story, and people were going to critique it. And he was talking about feelings or whatever, and I was like, and I said very firmly, like, they're like not like asking a question exactly. It was supposed to be asking a question, but it came out very aggressive. I was like, there is going to be time for the critiques, right? Because it's like, it's my turn. I worked hard for this. I earned this. Everyone has to critique my shit. So he goes around the class, and he's like, oh, if anyone, how you feeling? Express your feelings. And everyone's like, someone said, I feel fear. It's like everyone had this like weird shit to say that they'd thought about what they were gonna say. Whatever. Everyone went around. Then there's one guy who I'd like talked to before, in like another class, but I didn't really make super close friends at that point. I was kind of like, yeah, everyone here is a little bit crazy. But he was like, oh, I thought it was interesting how the Rust Belt, blah, 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 political theory stuff I didn't understand. I don't know about this stuff. He was like, oh, it was like the campaign trail, Hillary's campaign trail neglected the Rust Belt, and, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, well, wow, someone has like a thinking, working brain in this class. I couldn't believe it. He had given good critiques on other people's stories before. Like, fucking thing that kills me is when someone's like, oh, I really felt like I was there. Like, it's the free bingo space or whatever. It's like someone raises their hand. If someone raises their hand super quick for your story and then goes, I really felt like I was there, they couldn't think of anything to write. And they're just like, oh, I gotta make sure I thought I was there. Shoot their hand up really quick. I think the teacher was like, oh, I think we'll take our break early. Going to get some like water or whatever, bathroom or something. And then this guy comes up next to me, who I'd talked to once or twice, right? Like I didn't know him, but I didn't like know he was a person that would, become a friend of mine. And he said, hey man, how you holding up? And I was like, I just turned and I was just like, I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. This is my critique day. I want my critique. Like, and then he gets in close too, and he's like, oh, me too. I don't care either. Like we're coming out of the closet. But yeah, I did get my critique, and he gave me, obviously, the most detailed critique. Everyone else was very upset. Semi-related to that, my first book came out in 2015, and that was 2016. And I always got pissed when people on, like, social media would say, like, 2016 sucked. And it was like, well, that was the year that my book came out. That was the first time I, like, sold it at fairs and stuff. It's kind of a big year for me. It just didn't have anything to do with Trump. With President Trump, like. And if you said President Trump around the school, people would act like you had just sworn like really bad, like like or like you had like hit someone, like you had smacked a child like real hard, like they acted like it was like a real serious thing, or like a kid ran into a thing and like their head. It was yeah, it was like really bad. And then after class, I was going to get lunch with him because I was like, yeah, let's talk. Like, yeah, we should probably hang out. The only two sane people in like a zombie apocalypse of like crazy people. We had to walk around a bunch of people that had just collapsed in the path. We had to keep on going on the grass I remember because it was like we're walking through all these acorns, like because we just couldn't walk on the path. There's all these like there's all these like people just like collapsing and crying, just like. And it was weird seeing them like on the ground because they kind of like had sort of not super obvious bodies, like not like misshapen, but like not like the opposite of shapely, right? And so when they're laying on their side, it's kind of hard to tell where's the parts and stuff. It's just weird. It's just a weird sight when you see a bunch of like I don't know what you call them, like SJW, liberal, whatever, they're woke people, like just collapsed. Not that you would necessarily see that, but yeah, we went into the student center, like where you get the food, where you get the paid food, not like the dining hall where it's like a buffet and everything's like salty and shitty. It was like the paid food, and I remember there was a girl who was like. She's like crying to the person at the front desk, and she's like, I remember it was the most vocal cry, right? It was like really loud, like blubbery, like a kid, and it was like, I just can't understand why he would vote for Trump. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, it was, I got the gist of the conversation. It was like she's breaking up with her boyfriend or something because he voted for Trump. Okay. But yeah, and that's in that building is where I saw those signs for cookies and milk and coloring books and whatever. And it's like, I don't know, if I was upset about something and someone was like, "Do you want a coloring book?" I would be mad. I would be like, "What the fuck do you think?" I would be like pissed off, like they're making fun of me. Like, you want the wambulance? Do you want some warm milk and cookies? Just such a weird thing, but yeah. And that's how I met my friend John.